Good morning. This is your host, Jeff Ski Kinsey at fastchargeenergy.com. It's going to be another great one if you decide to make it one. Where do you find wisdom? That's a great question. I had a mentor, tell me that wisdom is experience that somebody else paid for. So that's interesting. Some of the wisdom I find in some unusual places. For example, many moons ago, there was this company called Radio Shack. It got bought out by a company called Tandy, so it became Tandy's Radio Shacks. But they were this cool technology place. You could buy all kinds of hardware, and they kind of maybe didn't invent the CB radio phenomenon, but they definitely threw fuel on the fire and were one of the leading outlets for mobile CB radios. Remember the movie, what was it? Convoy? Anyhow, there's a guy running it by the name, back in the day, named Louis Kornfeld with a K. And he's a marketing guy, he's an advertising guy, and he becomes CEO of Tandy, and he's running Radio Shack, and he writes a book. And the title of the book is very unusual. To Catch a Mouse, Make a Noise Like a Cheese. Okay, I don't think it's a good thing if your cheese starts making noise, but I think we all get the point. Among the many, I think he called them rules. I think they were Kornfeld's rules. I'd have to find my copy of the book. I got it somewhere. I got the old version of the book, which was kind of a yellow, orangish, branded by Radio Shack and sold in Radio Shack stores. The newer image that I found on the internet this morning were all a black cover, probably the second printing if I had to guess. But the takeaway I want to talk about this morning is this concept of when business opportunity presents itself, what do you do about it? And he was there for the CB radio explosion. That would have been back about, 1979, if I have to recall. Maybe earlier, maybe. But anyhow, so then this thing called the personal computer makes an appearance. And if you don't remember, Radio Shack was one of the first to jump in that retail market with both feet. Apple had the Apple II computer come out, and it boasted color, which was a really cool feature, and it was modular. But Radio Shack came out with what we know today as the Model 1, because back then they only had one model, and I don't even think it was called the Model 1. It was just the TRS Model 80, Tandy Radio Shack. So anyhow, here's the takeaway. He said, look, when an opportunity presents itself and it's so big that it doesn't fit through the door, knock the wall down and make that big hole the new door. But let's think of the ramifications. What if you've knocked out the whole side of a room and it's one big door? Another quick lesson, cash flow solves most problems. If you have enough cash flow, I'm not talking about profit, I'm talking about typically in advance of profit. If you've got enough cash flowing where you can make stuff happen and you can find revenue, find income, cash flow, real hard dollars from multiple sources, and postpone some of the repayment, it can be huge. It can be a huge benefit to your business. So knock the wall down, and as the business just explodes, just as it takes off and exceeds all your expectations, you'll be able to afford a new door. So at Fast Charge Energy, we're working on some projects that I think are going to blow your mind. But it's not the tech part of the solution. It's the thinking that went in to create it. And a number of us happen to think that's where Elon Musk excels. I'm going to go 1 minute over. Okay. He uses this thing he calls first principle myself and a number of my colleagues, we use something that the late Dr. Elliot Goldratt called the theory of constraints. It's a law. Every business, every startup has constraints, and there is but one weakest link. Let that sink in. And so, what we've figured out is what is the benefit. Back in the sales days, we'd always talked about FAB, features, advantages, and benefits. But today, if you don't lead with the benefits, if you are not leading with benefits, you're probably not going to get your message heard. But again, your mileage will vary. There's all kinds of factors involved here. But the bottom line is we're working on some cool stuff that's going to help our clients, okay? We're not so much interested in our clients alone. We're interested in helping their clients or their customers. And if we can help them succeed with the people that pay them, we will be well compensated.